If you're a Dubs fan, of course, that was a long, painful loss as the Rockets led wire to wire and winning game 2, 109-94. But the Warriors do get the split down in Houston as the series shifts back to the Bay for game number 3 Saturday evening. But obviously the big story is Jimmy Butler. He'll get an MRI tomorrow on his pelvis contusion, which he suffered late in the first quarter. And hopefully he'll be ready to go at some point during the series, because we know the Warriors need Jimmy Butler if they want to outlast this young, hungry Rockets team who played well, especially Jalen Green. We'll get to him in just a second as we welcome everybody to Toyota Warriors postgame live with the Hall of Famer Chris Mullin and a couple NBA champions, Festus Ezeli and Juan Toscano Anderson. And off the rip, the Rockets, you have to give them credit, playing great defense there. The start, they've played at their pace and held the Warriors to under 100 points for the 5th time in 7 matchups. Rockets, they did their thing tonight, JTA.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw a quote from Fred VanVleet after game 1. He said, we had to match their physicality, which I saw that and I immediately thought that's a different idea of what you guys showed the last time they were here in Golden State and what they showed tonight. They are showing that they're the more physical team. They're overwhelming the Warriors with their physicality. I thought in the first half they really took the Warriors out of what they do. Made them very indecisive, and I think that just kind of set the tone for the rest of the game.
Okay, yes. This is what I expected. All right, the Houston Rockets are the number 2 seed, and they're not just going to concede their whole season just in the first couple games of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And so tonight, the Warriors, after winning the first game, you come into the second game, and this is a game 7, essentially, for the Houston Rockets. Because if you lose this game and you're going back to Golden State, that's a lose-lose. I think in the history of the NBA, every team that's won the first 2 games away has won, what, 95%?
92.6%.
So, yes, so for the Houston Rockets, you saw the sense of urgency. You saw that in the defensive physicality with the Warriors. You saw that in the rebounding efforts. I mean, it's really a shame that the Warriors lost Jimmy Butler tonight, because that really showed with the Warriors. So on one hand, the Houston Rockets are playing physical, but on the other hand, the Warriors had their worst, probably one of the worst offensive outputs of the season. Both those together caused this loss.
Yeah, Bonta, what you said to start the show here was they got their split. That's the number one thing. That's a great thing for the Warriors. Now, the biggest story is Jimmy Butler's injury. Can he come back for game 3? But we've seen a pattern here. This Rockets team has been able to set the style of play and pace of play, holding the Warriors under 100 points several times. 5th time in 7 matchups. Okay, so that's what they've established. And they've got the 2 seed by playing physical, athletic defense, and then having spurts of offense. They're not a great offensive team, but tonight, that spurt was all about Jalen Green. They have to come off a 3 for 15 game. He gets 38. So that's kind of that's their formula. Play solid defense all the time, and can we get enough offense? Tonight they did, but the biggest reason why was because Jimmy Butler got hurt.
Well, let's review the play here late in the first quarter as Jimmy Butler and company were going for a rebound here. Late first quarter, this was unfortunate. A pelvis contusion, the Warriors are calling it. He'll receive an MRI tomorrow, and we'll see what happens here. Thompson misses a shot. Jimmy Butler going for the rebound. Now, dirty or not? Not sure about that. There was a lot of traffic in the post.
Not at all. I know Thompson and his brother saw. I know his dad. He's a classy kid. You could see. It's just unfortunate timing. Draymond even kind of got tangled up with our man and kind of, pushed him in a little bit by accident. Right. Just horrible timing. Not a dirty play whatsoever. Right. But that floor doesn't know if it's by accident or not.
Yeah,
that
really
floor hurts your elbow. That hurts.
I mean, Jimmy is one of the toughest dudes in the league. If you see him play through all sorts of injuries. So if he walks off the game, you know that this is a really painful experience for him. The Warriors missed him. Missed Jimmy Butler all night long. They stayed on the 3-point line the whole time. Right. Jimmy Butler is the guy that goes inside. He gets the layups. That opens things up from the 3-point line as well. So even with a good offensive output from the 3-point line, you need the inside. It just shows the importance of Jimmy Butler.
Right, and I think it's an unfortunate injury, right? There are some injuries you can play through. Pelvic contusions, you can't play through those, no matter how tough you are. So hopefully he bounces back. And as Fezzi said, we saw what missing Jimmy does to the Warriors. You're shooting a lot of threes. You're not dominating in the mid-range, getting to the foul line, putting pressure on the rim. There wasn't a lot of pressure on the rim at all in that second half, and I thought that's what they were missing.
No balance to the offense. Molly, 43 of their 80 field goal attempts coming from the 3-point line. I would love to look at that play again because Steven Adams, Draymond Green, they're all tangled up, going for a rebound. I'm with you. I don't think Thompson
Why do you
is
want
a
to
dirty
see
player.
That again?
Well, no, because everybody's talking about it, and Thompson, a lot of people are saying this sturdy. You know,
And by
look
the
at the
way,
play.
he loses his balance.
This is a
and Draymond did not
terrible
mean to shove him, but they got tangled up, and he fell into
Steph.
Jimmy Butler. The timing of it is what was terrible. You know, a second
look at
earlier,
Steph's
Jimmy Butler's got the
reaction,
rebound. He's going on the fast break.
Listen, that Steph's reaction was all of us when this happened. All right? It was, man, what?
I can hear it with no sound on.
It is the worst feeling. It's the worst feeling to be in the air when you're playing and to lose your balance like that, and anything could have happened. Matter of fact, he could have landed on his wrist. You've seen that with Andrew Bogut. He could have so all these things are a factor. That was actually the best case scenario in that situation.
Yeah,
I agree. No
we'll see
broken
what that-
bones, just a contusion.
We'll see what the MRI says, Mark. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's good. So they'll get well, but Jimmy Butler. But another trend, Bonds, and we talked about this pregame, you know, holding the Warriors into 100. Now, last game they had 20 assists and won. Tonight, just 21 assists. So the Rockets have figured out how to take out the ball movement and the body movement. I think a lot had to do without Jimmy Butler tonight, of course. But it's back-to-back games. It's way under 30 assists, 20 and 21 respectively.
Points in the paint, 46-28 Rockets. Also the offensive, the rebounding as well. They out-rebounded Warriors by 13, so they're dictating tempo. They out-rebounded the Dubs, so they got to figure something out as the series comes back to the Bay
Can
Area.
we leave this on a positive note? That you're going on the road in the playoffs and your job is to go get one game.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they
I
did
mentioned
their
it right
job.
off the top.
Okay.
I mentioned it right off the top. They got the split, Fezzi.
Let's
Where you
reinforce
at?
it.
You got to reinforce it? They got the split. We get it. We get it. They got the split. But I wanted to get greedy here. I wanted to get greedy, but as a series, because after game 3, this series is going to be played every other day. So this is the last little 2-day break between the Rockets and the Warriors. But the game within the game, it was physical. Draymond Green was involved. Thompson, Dylan Brooks, the usual suspects. Man, this is
WWE?
wild. Shangoon.
UFC? What's this?
This game got pretty chippy. I'm not mad at it. It's playoff basketball. I like to see that. I like that both teams did not back down. It's beautiful to see.
Whenever you see Steph Curry on the floor like that in the middle of a game, he saw it not once, but twice tonight, you know this is that type of game. This is my type of game, Bonte.
You love this stuff. Now, it got chippy. You see Quentin Poston and Steven Adams. They got called for technicals here on the same play. Dylan Brooks and Draymond Green got into it. Draymond Green and Fred VanVleet talking. They're going back and forth. Now, this was a timeout. We were all discussing this, whether or not the benches are cleared, because we've seen this in playoff history. As Tari Eason, there's a towel of Pat Spencer. He catches it and just kind of swags his finger at him. Now, we've seen the playoff history before, whether it's the Knicks and the Heat in the 90s, whether it's Amari Stoudemire with the San Antonio Spurs, that players get suspended for coming off the bench. But it was a timeout. So I think nobody will get suspended. And hopefully that doesn't happen, because that could change the trajectory of this series.
Also, how do you gauge that? Everybody's involved.
Everybody's
Do you
involved.
suspend everybody?
Everybody.
Right.
Suspend everybody.
Well,
The Knicks and Heat. The Knicks and Heat.
There is a precedent.
Right.
Not that it's going to happen, but they stagger the suspensions so you have enough players to play. But I do think that the timeout and nothing really escalated.
Nothing
Hopefully,
happened.
you just keep moving on.
Okay, so a suspension happens when guys clear the benches during active play.
Right.
In the timeout, everybody's allowed to leave their benches, and that happens. That's a scuffle. Nothing happens.
They just got mixed up what bench to go to.
Sorry, you see with the towel. Great catch by Pat Spencer.
The last time I saw
With his
that,
face?
the last time I saw that, Robert Ory threw the towel in Danny Ainge's face.
Oh, wow, I thought
And
you
Danny
were
Ainge was the head coach.
Didn't one of the Morris twins do that to Jeff Hornacek when he was coaching the Phoenix Suns? I mean, we've seen it a couple times here, but great catch by Pat Spencer. Tari Eason didn't know that Pat Spencer was a great rugby player. All right, Jalen Green, he was the star of the show, and we chronicled his struggles this season against the Warriors. He came in the previous 6 games shooting 28% from the floor against the Dubs, including 21% from the three-point line. Well, that wasn't the case tonight, folks. 13 of 25 overall, 8 of 18 for the three-point line, 38 big ones, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. And Willie, he was very decisive with his catching and shooting.
Well, obviously, after game 1, both he and VanVleet had horrible offensive games. They spent yesterday watching film and getting up crazy jump shots. And look, you still want to give Jalen Green room because he's a dynamic athlete. You'd rather have him shoot contested threes and get to the rim for dunks. But once he got going, players like this, JTA and Festus, once they see that ball go in, their confidence goes off the charts. He had an incredible game tonight. Big-time bounce-back game for Jalen Green.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the NBA. It's the best league in the world. You're not going to stop guys. You just make it tough for them every night. And tonight, I feel like he found his flow early, saw the ball go in, and ended up being a long night for Golden State.
I mean, what you've heard the last few days about Jalen Green is Your team is in the playoffs, and you had 7 points in the first game. What do you do next? Because this is one of the top team in points in the paint, and it's largely due to having Jalen Green in the game. Started the game off being a playmaker. He got into the middle of the teeth of the defense. When the Warriors defense reacted, he made plays, got a couple layups for Thompson, one for Şengün, and then from there he started to find his shot. He got into the flow of the game being a playmaker first, and then became a scorer, and the Warriors couldn't stop it. His speed, his shot making, just got into the flow, and then, I mean, he's a dynamic athlete. He's really hard to stop him.
Gifted athlete, and he's a tough shot maker, but nights like tonight, he makes some tough shots, but he got a lot of open looks. He got a few catch and shoots to get him going, got to the free throw line, a few dunks. That's when he puts a game like that together.
Well, go ahead, JJ.
My apologies.
No, you're good.
I don't think he forced anything. I truly believe that the game is going to tell you what to do, and he allowed the game to tell him what to do, and he dictated what he was going to do offensively and didn't allow, Draymond and the Dubs, defensive scheme to dictate what he was going to do, and I think that's what made the game a lot easier for him.
No doubt. He got to his spots very easily tonight down in H-Town. Let's hear from the Rockets head coach, Ime Udoka. I'm sure he has something to say after this wild game, too.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người, hôm nay là người tên của mình. Hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục với các bạn làm vòng mình sẽ có tiêu đề là thùng rác.
Sạch rửa tạo là gì nhỉ?
Đúng đây là
BMD.
Vâng.
Đúng không? Này.
Em có đây em đã ăn rồi.
Vừa cái gì đấy, mày cho cọng cái đấy cũng là cọng cho mình.
Thế nó lấy cái tiểu cô anh.
Coi giờ nói cái gì vậy?
Không còn đâu, hết rồi, hết tiền rồi.
Hôm nay có em đừng nữa. Được, cho này món đâu.
Kia mình anh đang ăn kia.
Tạo mình vậy á.
Về tiền. Để có người
Mày đưa cái nào ăn người đây của bạn.
đi ra bỏ không tiền sơn đâu. Tôi đã không thèm tiền của mẹ đâu. Đây là tiền mà đây tiền là muốn lấy ra rồi. Xem video này cùng có video này xem ngoài video này. 4 em đấy. Có cái này. Ui ôi nhiều thế. Cái đấy bao nhiêu video? 29. Nhiều thế có 29 nữa. Đấy. 92. 92 thật đố mới đẹp lên 92. Lên được. Mày 8 phút này đố lên được 92 đấy. Nhỉ. Trước 4 phút mới lên được 100. 4 phút mới lên được 100 mới đấy. Đừng tưởng thế là đó. Chịu cười 2 phút cái bài bên nghe đấy. Dám là gì khổ.
Thằng Phong nó đâu rồi?
Rồi về rồi.
Thằng chó đi về nó không biết giả sạc mình ấy. Đem rút sạc thôi.
41.
Gì?
40%.
Tao ít hơn, tao có 20 này.
Ở đây ai ít hơn làm vua. Đúng rồi.
Sạc của tao phải được làm vua chứ không phải là.
Ôi cái tháng này.
Ai chó
thì làm chó.
đúng rồi.
Cái gì?
Cho bảo vệ đứa mẹ.
Ở đây không chị bảo đánh đồng ở đây. Anh ơi, đánh đồng ở đây. Anh Thành ơi. Anh Thành.
Bây giờ nhân viên
Đồng hiểu chưa?
con ta lại như thế ít tuổi thế nào?
Đánh đồng chị lên. Thành.
Rồi, con Thành mà đánh đâu mẹ đâu?
Đánh đồng mày không đi đâu. Đánh chồng này nhỏ. Đánh chồng nhìn tao đánh đồng. Không biết là như nào rồi.
Kia về cái thằng kia tận ghét đi nào. Kia về nào.
Rồi thứ 6 đi.
Đi làm suốt ngày nói chuyện, chị đã bảo không nói chuyện rồi thì tận
Chưa, chị muốn em bị cơm à? Chị nhà bụng sẽ rồi nè.
đến đây thôi.
Rồi cái này
Có mở ra thôi đưa ra tiền
bán lúc thì chẳng thế lúc thì nè nó nè.
trong này có 3 bì rồi. Rồi. Trong nó có một miếng đây này.
Tưởng chứ chị phải lọc ra những máy gọi là quay ra trắng nhất để mà quay cơ mà.
Nên là ta chỉ cần video thì ta chả cần trắng với chẹo gì nữa. Xấu quen được.
Thế vốn dĩ không đẹp. Vốn dĩ không đẹp.